Welcome to the Coaching Revolution's YouTube channel. The Coaching Revolution mentors qualified coaches to create financially viable and successful coaching businesses, and we are very, very good at what we do. This channel, this YouTube channel, releases short daily videos with tips about how to create a financially viable coaching business. And please make sure that you subscribe to the channel to make sure that you never miss an episode. Today, I want to talk about why it has never been easier to create a coaching business, to create the coaching business of your dreams. Now, in order for me to put that into perspective, let's look back. Let's just look back to the 80s or 90s when coaches setting off in business needed a physical office. They needed to have an office with all of the equipment that went with an office in those days, so your fax machine and your big chunky desktop computer. Their clients were geographically based, as long as either the client could get to them or they could get to the client. That was what dictated whether or not it was going to be viable to be able to work with somebody. Potential audiences for coaches were in the tens to hundreds of thousands, depending on the location. If you lived in a city, then the population of the city would be your pool in which to fish. And if you lived in a smaller town, the population of the town and perhaps surrounding areas would be the pool in which you could fish. Now, marketing a coaching business in those days was really hard. It was really hard. And it kind of boiled down to two things. Either you would, not either, you'd probably do both. You'd have an entry in the Yellow Pages, which would last for 12 months. And you could advertise in your local newspaper. You might get some editorial or some advertorial, but you would have an ad, weekly ad maybe, but an ad in a local newspaper. Now, bearing in mind, a local newspaper is good until the next edition comes out. And these things were expensive. These adverts were expensive. I remember in 1989, placing a local newspaper ad for a client of mine, and it cost me £500. And that is, and I know this because I Googled it before I started creating this video, that's about £1,900 in today's money. So £1,900 for one short flash in a local newspaper of a static ad that might have your contact details on it. So the reason that it's now so much easier to create a coaching business is that Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web. And where our audience used to be the people that we could physically reach, they are now the people that we can virtually reach. And that extends to billions of people, potentially, literally billions of people. Now, that's a blessing and a curse, because we can't work with billions of people, so we need to make sure that we choose who and where we want to work very wisely. So how does this work? How is it now so much easier? Okay, so we have an internet, and we have potentially these billions of people who we can reach. Well, the cost of setting up a coaching business is incredibly low these days. In order to start your coaching business, you need three things. You need one good social media profile. You need a way of delivering your coaching, so something like Zoom or Skype, and you need a way of taking payments online. That's it. And those three things are free. You don't need a fancy office anymore. You can work from your own kitchen table. You don't need any of the accoutrements that we used to have. You don't need a fax machine. You don't need your chunky great computer that costs an absolute fortune. Your own laptop that's really inexpensive these days will do the job perfectly well. So great, I'm saying it's really easy to do. It's very simple. It's never been easier. So how do you do it? What is the secret sauce? How do you create this coaching business of your dreams? Well, there are a number of steps to that. So let me briefly go through them. Number one, you need to define exactly who you want to work with, because billions of people can't hear you. If you say, hey, I'm a coach, that will echo in the vastness of the internet. So you need to define exactly who you want to work with. Then you need to be crystal clear about your marketing message. So you need to be crystal clear in the message that you put out there, which tells this kind of client that you want to work with what's in it for them, why they should work with you. You need to be in the right place delivering that message, because you need to be where they are. If they're not where you are, then they won't hear you. So being in the right place is incredibly important. You need to be consistent. Consistency is everything with online marketing. It's absolutely everything. You need to engender trust, and showing up regularly is a big part of that. In doing that work consistently, you will generate inbound inquiries. And what I mean by inbound inquiries is you will have people who say, hey, that person's talking about me. I'm really interested in finding out more. And they will come to you and they will say to you, hey, coach, I think you might be talking about me. Now, you will need to turn those inquiries into conversations, but hey, we're coaches, we're good at conversations. And then you're going to need to turn those conversations into paying clients. But that's it. And you can do all of that from your kitchen table with none of the high expenses that we used to have. You can do all of that for free. If you'd like some help with some of that, then why not hop over to Facebook and search for Coaching Republic. There's a link to Coaching Republic in the notes below this video as well. Coaching Republic is our free business building community for coaches, and you are very, very welcome to join us. In the next video, I'm going to start breaking down those steps that I listed, and I'm going to do that by defining who is most likely to work with you, who's going to benefit the most from your knowledge and experience as a coach. So don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.